Good evening and welcome to Primetime News, coming to live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Bernadine Jai Singha. Let's now take a look at headlines.
Prices of petrol and diesel reduced by 5 rupees as of midnight. President holds discussion with leaders of the TNA and the UNF. Mahinda meets Ranil at the Parliamentary Library. Speaker informs Parliament that proposal to cut off expenses of ministers is passed. Sri Lanka wins Deaf Cricket World Cup.
Parliamentarians of the TNA are currently holding discussions with the President and the Presidential Secretariat. According to a report, the parliamentarians representing the United National Front are also due to hold discussions with the President at the Presidential Secretariat later tonight. Stay tuned to News First for more details on this developing story. We are witnessing live footage from the Presidential Secretariat. The ceremony to award permanent appointments to 7,000 Samudhi officers got underway at the Sugatadasa Stadium this evening.
The event was held under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and several other MPs and ministers graced the occasion. 7,000 of the 14,400 Samudhi officers received permanent appointments under the first phase of this initiative. Departmental positions will be granted to the rest during this initiative.
We will take care of the political issue. That issue is between us. I have taken and I will take the responsibility of the state sector employees, so you perform your duties in the right way. Medicine for the innocent citizens of our country, education for our children, providing the required goods and services to the consumers, transportation services, water, petrol, ports, health are essential things that need to be provided to the people. We will resolve the political instability in the country, but I request all the state sector employees to not let services rendered to the people of this country be stalled or disrupted. Certain people have presented several proposals against the Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Ministers. They are trying to make us dysfunctional. They even convince people not to follow our instructions. But we know the President. The President did all of this as per the legal authority he has and based on the Constitution. No one can snatch the executive powers the President has without the public mandate. His power has been confirmed today. Some people have threatened his power. Mr. President, I'd like to remind you that the people are with you and that they will safeguard the decisions you made. The prices of fuel reduced today. We have been able to reduce the prices of petrol by 20 rupees. The people of this country will be benefited by this. We have not come into power to burden the general public. We must keep in mind that we came together to serve the people.
Speaking at a media briefing this evening, State Minister of Mass Media and Digital Infrastructure, Lanka, expressed the following views.
The country is functioning. If you look at even today, right, they gave 7,000 Samurdhi people, they made them permanent. There was an issue for the last 3-4 years. They were fighting for that. There were certain differences and animalities in between that. Now that has been sorted out today. Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance gave a fixed price, increased the fixed price of buying a paddy today, right? The entire machinery is working. I don't see any progressive or any reality at the ground level that the affairs of Parliament is being carried out by the administrators. Right? Administrators will take orders from the President because now it's a caretaker government. Under the caretaker government, the rest of the things are working as usual.
President Maithripala Sirisena declared open the sluice gates of what will be the largest multi-purpose reservoir development project in the country, the Murugahakanda Kaluganga project, this morning.
The reservoir is expected to irrigate over 82,000 hectares of farmlands in the dry zone. The Moragahakanda Kaluganga project is envisioned to supply clean drinking water and industrial water to the people of the dry zone areas in the north central, northwestern and northern provinces. It will open up 5,000 hectares of new land for agriculture development in the northern, north central, eastern and northwestern provinces. President Maithripala Sirisena engaged in an inspection tour as well. Meanwhile, the President has instructed project officials and engineers to immediately provide the benefits of the Kaluganga Reservoir project to the people.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and Ranil Wickremesinghe held a very brief discussion at the parliamentary complex today.
The meeting took place when Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa left the parliamentary committee room following a meeting this morning.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and former Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe met at the parliamentary library while a proposal debate was going on. The meeting went on for a few minutes and Mahinda Rajapaksa left the parliamentary complex from the MP exit. Usually, the Prime Minister and the President leave the Parliament using their respective exits.
The Termination Alliance explained to Parliament about the letter sent to the President yesterday.
UNF nominee.
When we said we would extend our support to appoint a Prime Minister from the UNF, we didn't mean that we would join the government. We will help the process to make the country stable again. Sambandhan got 14 TNA MPs to sign an affidavit to file a case claiming that the appointment of Mahinda Rajapaksa is wrong. There were several opinions expressed about signing the affidavit. The letter was sent yesterday with the stance of supporting a government led by Ranil Wickremesinghe was signed by these 14 MPs. When certain MPs said they cannot sign an affidavit about establishing a government, they were told that this affidavit would be sent to courts. They said that they will not let a single party to establish a government. They got these MPs to sign the affidavit with no conditions. They have deceived the TNA MPs too, not just the people. This was done to establish a UNP-led government.
Speaker Karu Jayasuri announced that the motion against the expenses of ministers, deputy ministers and state ministers passed with 122 votes in favour and none against.
Today's parliamentary session commenced at 10:30 this morning and was once again boycotted by the MPs of the ruling party.
It has been established by this assembly that there is no confidence in the current government and the parliament has the absolute power to control government finances. Therefore, starting from the 15th of November 2018, ministry secretaries do not have the authority to approve any payments to ministers, deputy ministers, state ministers and the personal office staff. Settlement of payments relating to expenses incurred for foreign tours, internal air transport and helicopter usage is prohibited. Legal action will be taken against any individual who wishes to act against this motion. I second the proposal to halt all payments including wages and other benefits to ministries, state ministers, deputy ministers and employees in their respective offices. We request the Speaker's approval for this notion to notify the ministry secretaries to refrain from spending. Certain articles of the Constitution have been misinterpreted to the tune of their own, creating unnecessary complications and resulting in the current political crisis. Back in 1993, when Adolf Hitler lost his position as the Chancellor of Germany, he set fire to the parliament and called for elections. The Rajapaksa regime is following the same strategy. None of us are against elections. However, we are only prepared for elections that will be held under an independent election commission and a legal government. We must first call for a presidential election. There is a myth that when Mahinda Rajapaksa comes into power, our country's economy will improve. These myths are now only fabrications.
මිත්‍යාවන් පල් බොරු බවට පත් වෙලා ඒ මුහුණු පොතේ රාජපක්ෂ වීරාභිවාදනය කරන අයට ඒ ව්‍යාධිය බැලඳිච්ච අයට මම යෝජනා කරනවා දාගන්න උඩින්ම දැන් නම් අපේ අප්පච්චිට බෑ කියලා සංචාරක ප්‍රවර්ධන.
The Tourism Development Authority has deposits worth billions of dollars. They must be utilized for tourism development activities and to improve local tourist destinations. It is alleged that the Ministry of Finance is attempting to take control of these funds. This motion will put a stop to this attempt. MP Vimal Weerawansa is having an event at the Sugaldasa Stadium today to grant 7,000 Samudri officers with permanent appointments. When the country does not have a Prime Minister or the government does not have the cabinet, how can such an appointment be made?
Following the approval of the motion, Parliament was adjourned until 10 a.m. on the 5th of December this year.
Parliamentarians of the opposition and the ruling party expressed these views at the parliamentary complex.
Of course, we will have to admit it. Now it is in the hands of the President. The President will provide a solution. Now you see, if you don't have a majority in Parliament, that will happen. It will have to happen. Otherwise, it will turn into a crisis. It is with grief that I am saying that my opinion is winning.
කතාවේ ඇත්ත නැත්ත පේනේ.
ඒ කියන්නේ ඉවත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ මේ කියලාද ඔබතුමා කියන්නේ?
ඉවත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද ඉවත් වෙන්න අඩු තියෙන වෙනතොට.
JVP MP Vijitha Herath expressed the following views in Parliament today.
The Constitutional Council was convened on the 25th of October, and it, with your supervision, appointed 2 Supreme Court judges. But the appointment was not carried out by the President in a proper manner. The entire country is watching. Amarasekara and Ture Raja were nominated by the Constitutional Council, but the appointments have not been done yet. I request you to intervene and make sure the appointments are made.
A group of MPs representing the government faction convened a media briefing at the parliamentary complex today.
If the elections are halted by the courts, we ask the Speaker to allow us to form this government legally without causing a crisis. He cannot play with the government appointed by the President. Look at Article 152 of the Constitution. It states that if there is an addition or subtraction of funds or imposing taxes or starting up a new fund, these cannot be done through a proposal. An act must be brought. An act can be brought only by a minister. Even the minister can bring the act or an amendment only if the cabinet approves it. The creators of this entire program are Ranil Wickremesinghe and Sumanthiran. There is a reason for that. They promised a federal constitution before the world. This federal constitution is currently operational at a special room on the 4th floor of Parliament. There was an attempt to bring this to Parliament on the 7th of December as a draft, but I see a small rehearsal here. Today, as it is illegal, we don't mind them doing anything in Parliament. It will not be accepted. The office of the Prime Minister is operating. The officials are working. Work is being done within the country and all of the ministries are active.
අධිකරණ තීන්දුව ප්‍රකාශයටපත් නොකර ඔබතුමාලා කියන්නේ එතෙක් පාර්ලිමේන්තුව රැස් වෙන එක නීති විරෝධී කියලා.
It is not illegal, it is against tradition. The reason for this is because the executive, the legislature and the judiciary, these 3 institutions must work with an understanding of each other. Minister Vijaydasu Rajapaksa made a special statement in Parliament. Vijaydasu Rajapaksa had spoken with some of us regarding this, but he came forward and made a statement. This is his personal opinion. So I believe that the statement made by him is a statement that benefits us and not one that is detrimental to us. But I would like to tell you that it was his personal opinion.
Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Sajid Premadasa, expressed the following views during a media briefing at the parliamentary complex today.
Our enemies say that the manner in which the no-confidence motion was brought forward is incorrect. We also hear that the actions of the Speaker is wrong. If the process outlined in the Hansard report is also rejected, we can hold an election in Parliament once again, and if they succeed, we can turn back the no-confidence motion.
අනුකම්ප ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ 152 වෙනි වගන්තිය යටතේ විපක්ෂයට මේ මුදල් කප්පාදු කිරීමට බලයක් හැකියාවක් නැහැයි කියන කාරණාව තමයි උන් දිගටම කියන්නේ. එදා මේ අය ආණ්ඩු බලය
The ruling party took over the government claiming that they had majority. These liars now talk, ignoring parliamentary powers to approve budget expenditure.
මුදල් අනුමත කිරීමේ බලයත් පැත්තකට වීසි කරලා කතා කරනවා.
තුමාලගේ රජයේදී ද්‍රවිඩ සන්ධානයත් එක්ක එකතු වෙලාද රජය කරන්නේ කරන්න ඇමතිකම් මෙහෙම දීලා කොහොමද ඉදිරියේදී
ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ සඳහන් වී තිබෙන
We will implement all measures to develop our country adhering to the constitution. As far as I know, members of the TNA do not expect any ministerial positions. They have decided to extend their fullest support towards the development of our country.
මර්දන වැඩසටහන් වලට ඒ අයගේ සම්පූර්ණ සහයෝගය ලබා දෙන්නට ඒ අය තීන්දුව කළා තිබෙනවා.
විද්‍යානුකූල නොවන ඊනියා අගමැතිවරයාට බලයක් තියනවාද රටේ අයව ඉදිරිපත් නොකර බඩු මිල අඩු කිරීමක් සහ යම් දේවල් අඩු කිරීමක් කරන්න.
බඩු මිල අඩු කරන එක, තෙල් මිල අඩු කරන.
Giving benefits, reducing the prices of goods and fuel is a good thing. There are lessons that must be taken forward and we will do our best to reduce prices even more. However, we oppose the actions made against the people. They came in as the UPFA and ended with representing the Flower Bud Party. Members of the SLFP have been isolated. SLFP members who pledged their support to the Podujana Perumuna were rejected as well. There were no SLFP members among those who threw chairs, books, slapped our police officers and threw chili powder. That's the truth.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේ කවුරුත් ඒක තමයි සත්‍ය කතාව.
Prices of petrol and diesel have been reduced again with effect from midnight today.
Petrol 92 octane.
92 octane petrol. It was priced at rupees 140. We reduced it by 5 rupees to 135. 95 octane petrol was priced at 164 rupees. It was reduced by 5 rupees to 159 rupees. Auto diesel was priced at 111 rupees. It was reduced to 106 rupees. Super diesel was at 136 rupees and it was reduced to 131 rupees. All these price revisions will be implemented as of midnight. We have requested the IOC company to also bring down their prices in line with the revised prices.
අපි IOC සමාගමෙනුත් ඉල්ලීමක් කළා තිනවා. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ මිල ගණනුත් මේ තත්ත්වෙට පහත් කරන්න කියලා. භූමි තෙල් මිල වේගෙන් අඩු කළා තියෙනවා.
No, the price of kerosene oil was reduced quite fast. It is still being sold at 70 rupees at a small loss.
Welcome back to the news. 2 police officers were killed in a shootout in Vaunathivu, Petition. The deceased were police officers based at a security checkpoint in Vaunathivu area.
The bodies of 2 police officers who were on duty at a roadblock in Batiklo have been found under suspicious circumstances. A police spokesperson said the bodies were discovered near the roadblock this morning, but that the cause of death is yet to be ascertained. The IGP has ordered a special investigation into the 2 deaths. It is reported that the body of one constable was found opposite the checkpoint, while the other was found on a bed inside the checkpoint. Our correspondent stated that a T-56 assault rifle had been used for the killing, while the weapons owned by the deceased police constables were also missing. According to our correspondent, an investigation was conducted by the police until 6 a.m. this morning. The deceased was Police Constable Dinesh Alagaratnam, a 28-year-old resident of the Kalmune area. The other deceased police constable was identified as 35-year-old Niroshan Indika, a resident of Udugamagol and a father of 1. The bodies have been taken to the Batiklo hospital for the post-mortem examination. Meanwhile, a special team, including the IGP, visited the Vaunathivu area this afternoon. Based on the evidence we have received so far, it seems that the police officers were murdered. The IGP has instructed the relevant officials to take actions against those responsible for the murder of these constables. The murderer is currently out of sight and we will find him and bring him to justice.
The Special Task Force personnel of the Capital level police were successful in locating guns and ammunition in Yan Oya in Habagamahoro Patana area.
Based on information received, this operation was carried out by the Special Task Force. The operation commenced early this morning and was executed through diving in the Yan Oya. Police said empty magazines used for T-56 assault rifles and light machine guns were discovered from the bottom of the Jan Oya. In addition, 1,400 T-56 assault rifle bullets, 1,379 MGM bullets, 6 mortar fuses, 2 hand grenades, 8 40mm explosive weapons and LMG ammunition were also recovered. A correspondent said the water levels of the Jan Oya had risen due to prevailing rainy conditions, resulting in the STF to put extra effort to make this operation a success. The STF suspects that some of the weapons had been dumped in the stream a week ago. Operations have currently been suspended due to increasing water levels.
The co-warrant to writ petition filed by 120 parliamentarians at the Court of Appeal was taken up today.
The petition that bore the signatures of 122 MPs from the United National Party, the JVP, Muslim Congress and the Tamil National Alliance questioned the validity of the appointments of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa and the Cabinet. The petitions are taken up before a bench comprising of President of the Court of Appeal Justice Preeti Padman Surasena and Justice Arjun Obesekara. President's Counsel S. Kanagiswaran informed the Court of Appeal today at a time when 2 motions of no confidence have been passed by majority in Parliament against the new Prime Minister and Cabinet of Ministers. Neither Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa nor the Cabinet have legal or moral rights to continue to remain in their respective positions. He went on to note, according to Parliament Powers and Privileges Act, Court does not have power to inquire or examine the motions of no confidence. President's Counsel Gamini Maithripala, presenting facts on behalf of Mahinda Rajapaksa, stated the Court of Appeal had no legal right to take up the petition, as petitions have been filed at the Supreme Court on certain facts related to this petition. He pointed out the Supreme Court had only issued an interim injunction against the Gazette notification issued by the President dissolving Parliament. He added that convening of Parliament on the 14th or after that is unlawful. President's Counsel Maithripala further noted the no-confidence motion passed after the suspension of standing orders in a Parliament that convened in such an unlawful manner cannot be accepted. His argument was that if a no-confidence motion or an act is being passed, the specific number of votes for and against it must be clearly mentioned on the Hansard. The President's Counsel noted that a voice vote is not a legal method of passing the no-confidence motion. President's Counsel Gamini Maithripala requested the Court of Appeal to refrain from issuing an order until the hearing of the petitions at the Supreme Court concludes. The petition will be taken up again on the 3rd of December.
The Solar Show Sri Lanka 2018 concluded yesterday at the Sri Lanka Exhibition and Convention Centre in Colombo.
The event saw the attendance of more than 1,500 people, hosted more than 30 conference sessions and held more than 60 exhibitions. Many distinguished guests spoke at the event on important topics related to energy in Sri Lanka. Neera Cook, Group Director of the Capital Maharaja Organisation, also spoke on energy infrastructure development and what it means for Sri Lanka's future.
A higher daytime demand essentially means that it's good for solar. It also shows signs of industrialization and economic development. While daytime demand is growing in Sri Lanka, we still have a very evening-focused peak. Politicians and policymakers are varying timelines, some saying 2030, some saying 2050, but their intention is to get to 100% renewable energy.
Sports First Inside Sports program won an award for the best sports program at the Cirque Awards. The Cirque Awards was held at the Bay Message for the 4th consecutive time today. Meanwhile, in more sports news, Sri Lanka won their first ever Deaf T20 World Cup, beating India in the finals by 36 runs.
The Deaf T20 World Cup tournament was played in India. The finals of the tournament was played between hosts India and Sri Lanka today. Batting first, Sri Lanka scored 145 runs for the loss of 9 wickets at the end of their allotted 20 overs. Chasing 146 for a win, India were bowled out for 109 runs in 17.5 overs. Sri Lanka won the match by 36 runs. The man of the match and the man of the series was awarded to Gamidhu Malcolm from Sri Lanka. Asanka Manjula was recognised as the best bowler of the series. Jayalata Ponsu and Ushan Gunaratne were the trainers of the Sri Lankan Deaf cricket team. This victory will go down in history as a world-class victory that Sri Lanka managed to achieve after the victories of the Cricket World Cup in 1996 and the T20 World Cup in 2014.
Sports First Alliance Platinum Awards 2018.
The world is revolving around sports, science and art. I'm actually very happy that there's something done like this for sports. Because the sportsmen and women have worked hard to bring glory to the country. This is something that should be done with state sponsors. But a private organization has come forward to do it, and it is a great deed. I wish you all the very best.
මේක වෙනම රාජ්‍ය අනුග්‍රහයකින් කෙරෙන්න ඕන දෙයක් මෙවැනි පෞද්ගලික ආයතනයකින් කෙරෙනවා ඒක විශිෂ්ට දෙයක් මුළු හදවතින්ම සුබ පතනවා
Sports First Alliance Platinum Awards 2018.
With that, we wrap up Primetime News. I'm Bernadine Jai Singha. Take care. Good night.